How to Get Gum Out of Your Brain with Elske and Allan. Allan Mishra here from Dare to Be Vital, and we are so excited today to have Elske talk to us about how to get the gum out of our brains. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me a
Happy
little
to
bit
be.
about yourself, if you can, to start.
Yes, I'm a board certified child and family therapist, and I'm specialized in trauma treatments in the Netherlands, actually, but
Huh?
now in California for a while. So,
Well, thank you for being with us. I'm really looking forward to learning more about you, or excuse me, about you and how to get unstuck or how to get the gum out of my brain. So, where should we start? What should we start with in terms of maybe a question or something?
yeah, I think a question for us all would be like, if we think about happiness, how could we be more happy? So that's maybe a thing to start. So maybe a question would be, if I ask you, would you be much more happy if I like gave you $2 million? Do you think it will give you more happiness?
I would have to say yes to that, but probably a qualified yes, because I know the people who win the lottery are happy for a period of time and then it goes away. But I'll take the 2 million up front and then figure
Yes.
it out.
I think I would say the same thing. But you're right. You already know the science behind this. Actually, we're not much happier if we get a large amount of money, and so our circumstances only determine 10%, and then there's also a 50% like setup where we start from genetics, and then there's the good news, there's 40% we can change,
We can
because
control
that's
this.
our thoughts, our actions. Yes.
All right, so that's where getting the gum out of our brains is important. So how
Yes.
do we start that process? How do we start to figure out how to get unstuck?
Well, actually, it would be good to see like our brain as a garden, and it's a garden you have to maintain. So first, then there's this great saying from positive neuroplasticity that says, "Let it be, let it go, let it in." And I saw in this group a lot of great examples for let it in, like the gratitude journals, and let it be, the mindfulness. And this part is about let it go, the gum out of your brain, because that's also very important. Yes,
Yeah,
we have those sticky thoughts that we
yeah, the
need to
Beatles
get out of
song
us.
"Let It Be" is one of my favorite of all time. So let it be,
Mm.
let it go, and let it in. Okay, so I think I'm reasonably
Yes.
good at letting it be. I'm definitely not good at letting it go, and I'm not sure
Mhm.
what you mean by letting it in. What's that mean?
Letting it in is like really feeling appreciation,
Hmm.
and sometimes this gets blocked by if we don't let go. So if you have those things in your life going on and you are not addressing them, then sometimes it's hard to, then you see like the beautiful ocean, but you can't really let it in and really feel it. So
So what are the next? What
and
are?
that's also,
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, so all three are very important for our mental health, but yeah, sometimes you have, like, if you see the mind as a garden, let it go is pulling the weeds, and then you can see the flowers. So
There
let
we
it in and seeing the flowers, but
Okay.
then yeah.
So let it go is pulling the weeds and letting it in is growing the flowers. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Okay, let's
Yes.
review that for 1 second because I'm slow. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, so it's like gotta minimize it for me. So let it be, let it go, and let it in. And let it go is kind of like pulling the weeds, and then let it in is the flowers growing. So that's beautiful. So
Yes.
is
And
there a
let it be is actually being there in your garden and identifying what is weed and what is the flower. So really feeling the feelings.
Awesome. So is there a process or is there a program that you can follow that would help people like me and others get the gum out of our heads?
Well, in this part, the let it go part, there's actually a little bit of the let it be and let it go, because it's like identifying what is haunting you. We're now talking about really sticky thoughts. So that's the gum in your brain. That's not the thoughts that just go away easily. Those are the ones that haunt you. And for most people, that's when they want to go to sleep. Maybe people know this, like when there's a quiet moment, you're in the shower or you want to go to sleep, that's when they pop up, these thoughts.
So like a worst case scenario or a nightmare or something? Is that what you're thinking? Like these bad thoughts? Is that what we're talking about?
Most of the times, it could also be like a colleague at work said something to you and it really hurted you at the moment, like, or it really, there was a stress response at that moment. And for many of us, that's something we don't want to think about too much. It's like it happens, let's go on, we have things to do, action on. But if it was a stressful moment, then it's probably stuck in your brain, because that's a way of our brain protecting us. Our brain has this magnificent protection. If there's stress, then or memory, it makes memories for us, because that's important. Then you, if there would be a bear, you know not to go there because there's the bear.
Right. Stay away from the bear.
Yeah, get away from the bear. So if there's stress, those things you really need to remember, and that's a way of our brain protecting us. But our brain doesn't see the difference between a colleague that says something nasty to you and the bear. So there's little difference for our brain. There's still the biochemical process in our brain for stress, and it's locked in your brain with a lot of, yeah, it's emotionally charged, we would say, as psychologists.
So
Yes.
that's interesting. Maybe we should take that example down the whole pathway there. So you're at work, or now maybe even on Zoom, right? Somebody says something on Zoom, and you're distressed by it, and maybe it's a trigger of somebody, demeaning you at work or demeaning your work. What's the next step? What should you do when you sense the bear is in the room?
Yes. Well, let's say you're the kind of person, like what I said, it happens and you think, well, this person was wrong. I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm just going to go on with my day and do my next thing. That could work, because sometimes those are helping thoughts and they can work. But then there's another protection mechanism in our brain. And that's that our brain is a storyteller. So maybe you, like if your partner would say to you, we need to talk, then what's the first thing? Yes. Uh-oh.
What did I do wrong? I made the bed this
Yes.
morning, so
Yes. So you're coming up with a story, and that's a thing our brain is very good at. Like, so something, and if something stressful happens, our brain is even better at it, because we have to make predictions. So if so the bear is at a cave, then maybe we shouldn't be at places where there are caves. So we have to make predictions. That's also protection from our brain.
all right. So then
So
we take ourselves down this pathway. I think that's the one that I worry about, is getting this, I finish the story of, oh my God, I did something wrong. What's going to happen? But how do I get out of that loop, where I'm going maybe too far down the line in a bad way?
yes. Well, actually, then there's a 7-step guideline you could take.
I like it.
That's to get the gum out of your brain.
Why don't we go through
Yes.
those 7 steps?
Yes. So first, this is a little bit counterintuitive. Like, you want to go away from this. This happened, but most of us, like, they would say, well, just watch another Netflix episodes, pour a glass of wine, don't think about it. But that's not what you're going to do. You are going to go down this road, but down this road like the whole road. So the worst case scenario, you'll take the worst case scenario in storytelling and you finish the story. And that's very important. So those are the first two steps. Like, think about what would be the worst thing that could come out of this, and then finish the whole story.
Okay. And then what do we do after that? After we finish the story?
Then we replay that story for ourselves and try to find the awful moments. Like, what happened there and what was the most awful moment.
Wow.
A lot of time.
This is
yeah,
tough.
that's not nice. We don't want to do this, but it helps. So we go back in the story and then we see what in the story, and sometimes it's not the moment the colleague said this thing, but it's like, or imagination, like after that there is this thing that could happen. He tells this to another person and that person tells it to your boss and it gets a really big thing or something. Like, sometimes it's that last thing, like you see someone talking to your boss about you. Right. But it's you have to be like very visual. So it has to be like a movie you play. And because what's very important is that you replay and then you pause it at the worst moment.
This is tough. This is
tough.
Yes. So when you get done pausing it, you're at that bad spot. Then what do?
Then you got the emotional charged moments. And then you've got this in your short-term memory. And that's actually awesome, because when things are in our short-term memory, we can work with it. We can, like, it's like Play-Doh. We can make something different from it. So that's
change it there. So that's
the place we want. Yes, but to do this, we have to give our brain another task, and not too easy. So that's the next part. Yes.
So that's the next step. So we've got it held here, this bad thing we don't like. I'm trying to envision this bear, and this bear's got big nasty claws and it's ready to take a chomp out of me. I definitely need the next step. So what's the next?
Yes, the next step. The next step would be for you to do a physical exercise and a mental task. So, and both of them, like, you need a little challenge there. So maybe you could think about a physical exercise that would be a challenge for you.
Like jump rope, or like running really fast, or a bunch of push-ups. I don't know, whatever. We have to think in the pandemic here, by the way. So you can't go.
Yes.
So
no, a jump rope would be great. Yes, it would be
jump
great.
rope until you're really physically exhausted or something. Or if you have a bike, exercise bike or something at home, or just even running around, going up and down stairs. I've been trying to think of this during the pandemic, because we need to come up with ways that people can exercise. So that could be taking laps around your dining room table if you don't have anything else, or going up and down stairs, jump rope, take a run, something like that. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, that would be great. As long as it's not too, like, I have this yoga routine, what for me is like very in my system, and that's very easy, and it's also very easy going. So if I would do that, that's too easy. I need something with a little bit more challenge. So like jump rope would be a great one for me.
Excellent. And then you said a mental task as well. So
yes, it's not finished with only the physical one.
ABC.
Because you want to get away from this. Now you can get away from it. You see this bear, and then you go jump roping. Yeah. But the mental task, a good one would be to say the alphabet backwards.
Alphabet.
I don't know. Yes.
We're not going to
I
do
don't know.
CYX. I'm not sure. You're right. It's hard unless you practice.
Yes.
Right? CYXW. I mean, I guess is that just engaging your short-term memory or engaging your brain in a way that's challenging? Okay. So we in
Yes.
medicine, sometimes when we're asking people is to count back from 100 by sevens. So maybe the alphabet backwards or counting back from 100 by sevens. Those would either one of those be okay?
Yes. It's like, as long as it taxes you, like there are people who are very good at doing the alphabet backwards. I'm
Okay.
not one of them, but if you are, then this is not a good task. So you need to do a task that is difficult, because it taxes your short-term memory, and that's what we want. We want it with physical exercise and mental exercise.
So wait a minute. I think you're asking me to do the jump rope and do the alphabet backwards. What if I trip and hurt myself?
Yes, so that's not a thing you want to do. So probably if you try, you will fail at one or both, but that's okay.
Right.
But you really have to try hard. So you get this image from the bear and you really zoom in on that image, like all the mean things you see, like the feelings in your body, and then you start to do this and you will see you can't think of the bear anymore, of course, because you're in the alphabet and you're trying to jump. So but that's actually the good thing.
So does that break the cycle in the short-term memory? Is that what it does? And then what do you do after you've done this physical and mental task together? What's the next step?
At the moment you fail, maybe you are thinking of the bear again, or maybe it's like you fail with the exercise, or you go back to the picture you had. So it's the image of the bear, and you zoom in again, if until you feel it again, like, oh yes, now I see what I thought was so scary. I see those eyes, and you feel it in your body, and then you start again. So
Sort of like
most of the times you need a couple of sets,
okay. So you
and
go
then
through the cycle of imaging the bear, trying to do something physical or mental, and then refocusing or zooming back in on the bear.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Then what's happening in your brain? So now is it becoming less scary, or what's really going on inside there?
Yes, the emotional charge that was on the memory, it's hard to keep it there. And it's hard to keep it as vivid as it was, because then after a while it's even like, what picture did I have? And it's, you have to almost search for the picture. So
Gotcha.
that's a funny thing, because yes, there are so many things going on that our short-term memory is like, where was my bear? Like, so yeah.
So then when you get done with that, are you calmer or better able to deal with that situation, or is that the goal?
The goal is also to give your brain the possibility to heal itself from the things that happened, and get the memory back, but not with all the emotional charged things around it, and also get it out of the story. So you could probably afterwards say to yourself, like, this happened to me, but well, it doesn't matter, because now I know, or now I can, or now then there's room for like the positive thoughts, who you can really let them in. There's the part of letting it in, and
Yep.
feeling like, okay, well, it is not that big of a problem as it seemed to be.
Gotcha.
Yes. But
So
it's actually getting this thing going. So it's not done there, because our brain has this ability to heal itself. So it's not done there. So there's also, you afterwards you have to give your brain a break also.
put it in a lounge chair or something, right?
Yes, yes, yes. But just go like imagine you have a test coming up the next day. Then if you would have a important test, then you would go to bed early. You wouldn't have drink. So just give it some time to like process the things you were processing. So your brain is now processing it and storing it in another way, and that's great. And you want to give your brain a chance of doing that well.
I know we titled this "How to Get the Gum Out of Your Brain," but you know what we should have titled it? "How to Get the Bear Out of Your Brain."
Yes.
We should- How to Get the Bear Out of Your Brain. That's a better title.
Yes.
And so maybe can you, just to summarize for the people who are watching this or listening to it, what are the 7 steps? And then I'll try to put them in, if we process or edit the video, I'll try to put the 7 steps and a link to any other information you might have about how to get the bear out of your brain. We're going to change it. That's awesome. But that would be fabulous.
Yes. Yes. Well, first, I would say set it up. So if you're going to do the jump rope, like you said, it's not nice to think of that. So if you're thinking of that, it's nice if you can jump start right away. So set it up. But the steps are have those worst case, because sometimes it's things like, oh, there's things with colleagues. That's not specific enough. We need specific things. So if you're making the story, make one story and choose the worst case
Yeah,
scenario.
that's step 1, right?
That's step 1, worst case scenario. Step 2 is finish the story. So don't stop, like, but really finish it until the end. Like whatever happens next, the worst, finish it. That's step 2. Then step 3 is replay that movie,
Uh,
like scene for scene, and find the worst image in the movie.
yeah,
That's the one you pause, like really, like
that's the big bear.
then you have that bear there. Yes. And then you also zoom in on that bear. So that's not only like, but you really, yeah, you stay with that image. It's an image. Most of the times you are in the image yourself
Hmm.
because it's something that happened with others and you are also there. But you zoom in and you also like emotionally zoom in. You really feel what is happening there and you feel it in your body. So that's an important one. So, and then we get to go away from it with the exercise and the mental task.
Perfect. So those are great steps. This has been fabulous, Elske, to learn how to get the gum out of our heads or gum out of our brains or the bear out of our brain. And we hope people will follow through on trying to do that as a way to get unstuck. So thank you very much for your time. And I can't wait. I can't wait. One last suggestion I would have for everybody is to take what we've learned today and then apply it to a specific situation. So a little homework for people out there is next time you are in that situation where something is not going well or you're kind of stuck on this thought, try to practice this. And the thing I teach my patients with regard to like stretching or exercise is to tie it to something you've already been doing. So if you want to practice this, and I imagine practicing this will help us, is that right? You know, because sometimes we get better
Yes.
at doing
And
it.
also scheduling, like this is not something we really love to do. So it would be great just scheduling like in your agenda, here I'm going to get the gum out of my brain. I have some time there.
Great. So
Like,
tie it to your toothbrush, tie it to doing it before you go to bed or just when you wake up and get better at getting the gum out of your head. Thank you,
yes.
Elske. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.